we've had a crisis. We had a war in 1997, and then we had another war in 1998, and then we came out of conflict. We came out of conflict. We've held elections, and now again we're going to have to hold elections in the next 2 or 3 months. But we do fall in the category where we are coming out of a conflict. It's a post-conflict country. It needs financing, it needs technical assistance in order to rebuild the country and to have a strong Congo in Africa.
I mean, some people have been very concerned about whether or not the government in Kinshasa is really in charge. Just looking at the geography of the country, looking at the fact that in Eastern Congo you've still had incidents of violence, and you couldn't really control, to an extent, the trade in minerals in the east of the country. Those revenues were not being paid in taxes in the west of the country. Is there a little bit of order now?
The country is huge. It's 2.4 million square kilometers. It's a huge country. It has problems in terms of infrastructures and so on. Yes, we have brought peace to Congo. Now we do have pockets where you do have some instability, political instability or conflict instability. And those problems need to be addressed. It's not an easy problem to be addressed because we're not just the only one. We need to address it with our neighbors. We need to address it with Rwanda. We need to address it with Uganda. So it's not just a Congolese problem. It's Central Africa problem. And then again, because of all those mineral resources, again, you know, if you have to fund an army, for example, well, you have minerals. You have diamonds, you have coltan, you have other minerals that they can be the source of funding for guns. So we need to stop that, and we need to stop it with neighboring countries as well.
Your work as governor, I mean, you've got to deal with things like managing inflation, which has been a problem in the Congo. You've got to try to rebuild the credibility of the currency. And there was a situation where not enough revenue was coming into the country, and there wasn't even more than 3 months of import cover, for instance. What do things look like right now?
Things look much, much, much better. We've come a very, very long way in terms of inflation. And I would talk about hyperinflation. We're coming from 4 digits to 1 digit. For example, last year, we had an inflation rate of 9.8%, which is excellent. We had a currency which was very stable versus the foreign currency. At the point where even the IMF was asking us if we had changed the regime, if we went back to a fixed exchange regime. No, it's a floating exchange regime. So we've done a very, very, very good work in terms of managing the macro side of the macroeconomic side. And that goes also along with the political stability as well. So with the two together, I think we have a bright future for Congo.
The fiscal program in terms of the spend on infrastructure, which has been a major priority and a need in Congo, as well as managing other elements of the economy like credit, like inflation, how's that being handled?
Ask the question again.
I'm saying, what's the fiscal plan for managing the economy beyond the work that you do as the governor, the work that you're doing together with the finance minister?
Yes, with the finance minister, we're working very, very closely together. We meet on a weekly basis, at least once, if not twice a week, and we exchange information. And for example, for him, the challenge is to increase the revenues, and that's a great challenge. So he has to be in a position where he can close all the loopholes, you know, all the frauds. We've gone through an investment code for the mining sector to ensure that in the mining sector, when you have the major companies, you can rely on major companies to pay the taxes. And that's what we have been doing. That was our strategy. Now what we need to do is to go down from the major companies and lower down to medium-sized companies, and why not even informal small companies. We have lots of small companies that don't pay taxes. We need to tap into those companies. And one thing that we would like to do is to introduce what we call the value-added tax in English.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, everybody obviously focuses on mining because of the resources that exist in the country, and we know there was a review of mining licenses. Where's the process at this stage in terms of attracting more investment into the sector? And what about diversification? Are you doing anything about getting foreign banks to come into the DRC market and support the chain of investment and deals?
Absolutely. People, when they think about Congo, they think about mining.
Yeah.
But you also have to think about the agriculture. We have huge land, arable lands that we can feed lots of countries in Africa if we get our act together. And that's extremely important. So it's not just the mining. The mining is the locomotive. We say, okay, we're going to build our strategy around the mining sector and attract the other companies, the other sectors by the mining sectors. And in the banking industry, when I started about some 14 years ago as governor of the central bank, we had about 18 banks. We closed 9 banks because we're not solid. And today we have about 23 banks and of all nationalities. And that is good.